So I grew up with a brother and a mom and a dad who was an alcoholic, a drug addict. He was, he still is. I mean, he's 65 now. But so he was a traveling salesman, and he would be out all week, and then he would come home on the weekends, and that kind of schedule wears you down eventually. And so the whole week he'd be selling and trying to make a living. And sometimes he would come home, and sometimes he wouldn't. Sometimes he'd come home drunk. Sometimes he'd come home after having multiple affairs with other women. And finally, after years of this, my mom started to make a plan to leave. And I was still young, but I remember the time when she decided to leave was when he came home drunk, and he picked my brother up and threw him into another room, and he picked me up and threw me against the wall. And then he chased my mom into the bathroom and beat her until she kicked him out and locked the door. And she got us into the bathroom and snuck out, and we stayed at the neighbor's house. And then he left for another week of work, and that week we moved out and moved in with my grandparents. And so my whole kind of childhood, adolescence, growing up was with a difficult understanding of what a father is. And so when you think of God, you think of Father, right? Jesus says, when you pray our Father, our Daddy. And, you know, saying that, your immediate thought is, well, my real father. And so growing up with a father like that, you have difficulty understanding who God is, because you view him through the lens of who your temporal father is. And so, you know, it was, and it didn't end there. It was a difficult childhood with him. We had to see him once in a while, and so, you know, I've had to struggle with. You want approval. You want, you know, to have parents who you can look to for hope and guidance and so forth, and encouragement. But he never did that. He never said, "I love you," or "Great job," or "I'm proud of you," or you know, never came to all those things. You know, I mean, typical kind of father that was absent father. And so when you talk about self-worth, if I spent my life striving to find my worth in just his approval, God was gracious enough eventually to lead me to this point where he said, you know, I am your father, and trying to find it in him is just like trying to find it in anybody else. You know, you can't find your worth in other people. It's only in the Lord. And even now, as my wife and I are looking to adopt children, you know, I have no framework to be a father, a good father. And that makes me nervous, you know, that makes me worried in a sense, because, and then that question of, well, what am I going to be like? And am I going to be like this? And am I going to be like that? And the Lord has to, and he's gracious enough to say, you know, I've shown you what a father is. I've been a father to you, and you model yourself after me and not after, and that's where, again, that's where my treasure is and my hope is, and finding it there.